Welcome to the Mediocre to Magnificent podcast. I'm your co-host, Braxton Matson, and your host, Lee A. Williams, and I just want to say thank you for tuning in because you are what makes this pure magnificence. You are the ripple effect of magnificence, and we are going to bring you a message that will give you insight, inspire you, motivate you, and challenge you to not only grow in your magnificence, but let you know that you are magnificent in everything you do. So stay tuned. You don't want to miss it. Lee, man, it is always good to see you.
It's good seeing you.
We are on the final part 4
Part 4.
of beliefs to outcomes.
We are, man.
That's crazy, man.
It is.
And like this one's beliefs.
This is what it's all
This
about.
is where it starts. Is the belief system.
This is where it starts.
You know, the one thing that comes to my mind is like the saying, as a man thinketh, so is he.
Oh, wow.
You know?
We're getting right into it.
So
tell me about that. Eh?
So let's just do a recap.
Yeah, that'd be good.
So we started with feelings or emotions. And from that episode, we talked about how we need to understand our feelings, but more importantly is to get to the core of the emotion behind it.
Yeah.
So once you understand like the core emotion that's behind that feeling, that helps you understand the next step, which is the action step, what actions you need to take. And I stressed really hard, one of the action steps is understanding your emotion and taking that healthy pause. Like you got to take the healthy pause from the emotion because you don't want to act out on a feeling in a lot of cases because the outcome may not necessarily be what's best for you and what's best for the other people around you.
Right.
Then from the action steps, you get the outcomes. You get the results.
Mm-hmm.
And I really wanted you to understand the outcomes are what they are. Let the outcomes be the outcomes. And then take that to make adjustments and to improve.
And that's right. Definitely improve. Striving for magnificence.
Right, exactly. So that's where the belief system comes into play because a lot of your feelings come from your belief system.
Yeah.
Like everything.
Shit, everything.
For example, I haven't read this book yet, but I really want to read this book because it's interesting because I feel like we all have this part in us. Mm-hmm. So the book is called Stumbling Towards Wholeness, and it's by Andrew Bauman. I think is how you say it. But he goes into the parable of the lost son. Mm-hmm. So if you haven't heard the story, which I'm pretty sure a lot of people have, but if you haven't, is dealing with a younger son, an older son, and a father. Mm. The younger son wants basically his inheritance now. He wants it now. Mm. And he wants to take it. And he goes and squanders it on... just not living a good life. Like it was just... He just squandered it. And whereas the older son was more of the... Like he did what he's supposed to do. He was in the word. Like everything like to a T, you know?
Right.
And then the father, you know, is kind of the person that we all want to gravitate to as far as who we are, as far as forgiveness, as far as understanding, being that father figure, so to speak. So the younger son, he squanders everything.
So his father gives just for the people that don't know the story.
Yeah.
So the father gives the younger son
He does.
his portion
He gives him his portion.
The inheritance early.
And he leaves. He leaves, squanders it, has nothing, no friends. Like he's in a pig pen. This is he gets to that point.
Wow.
But he comes back to his father.
Mm-hmm.
And the one thing, because he doesn't want, he just wants to be like a servant. Like, just let me be a servant.
Mm-hmm.
Come back. And his father, treated him like he was royalty when he got back.
Treated him like he was royalty? What does that mean?
Like, he changed his clothes, gave him a huge feast. Things that, you say, oh, man, he's done all these things. And it's like, he still gave him this stuff?
Who is that? The reader saying that, or who is saying that, or that's the older brother?
No. This is
saying that.
Well, you could term it as the older brother. Like, the way I'm saying it is the older brother.
Okay.
Because he's sitting there he's done all these things to you, or he just blew everything.
Right.
You still forgive him. You still give him grace. You still all these things. And then I'm he's over there I've worked the fields. I've done all this stuff.
I've been here the whole time.
I've been here the whole time.
Right.
And it comes almost as hatred to his younger brother. But the father still gives him grace at the same time.
Yeah.
So it's kind of that is us in a nutshell as far as who we are. We've got those three characters in us, in a way. So you can be the one, and really the way he put it was with the younger son, that's dealing with the shame or the self-contempt part of you. So that's that belief system in there. That's the shameful self-contempt. You feel like you're not worthy, or you're not, you've done all these things and you're not, you don't deserve anything.
But at what time is that in the story that you feel that? Is that when you come back, or are you saying, is that what caused him to want his inheritance and go search?
Well, I feel like I feel like that's towards when he wants to come back.
Okay. So that's not what drove him to go.
Right. And it's kind of if we want to look at it, how this series is going. For me, reading the story, I feel like it was out of emotions. The younger son did it out of emotion.
Right.
He didn't really think it through.
Oh, yeah, he didn't think this through.
And then he reaped the repercussions of the outcomes that happened because of it. But then at the same time, his belief system came back to his belief system. He felt shameful. He felt self-contempt. He didn't feel deserving. He still went back, but he didn't feel like he deserved to be what he got out of it when he came back.
Yeah. So that you think that's why the father did this stuff?
Why?
To help because he knew his son was struggling with.
Yeah. And the weird thing is you don't really hear a lot about the father in the story. He just does the right thing.
He's just solid.
Yeah. And then on the other side, you got the older son. So the older son's dealing with the pride and insecurity part. I can do no wrong, or me. I've done these things, X, Y, Z, yeah. And the pride part gets to you on that one.
Yeah.
But then you also have the father in us, which is the reconciliation part. You got the grieving part, but you have the reconciliation part. You have the humbleness. You have the calmness to it. Like it allows you to be forgiving to yourself in a way. Like that's how I see those three characters playing out on that. And that's really like your belief system. Like a lot of people, they struggle with that because they either situations that's happened in the past, it creates this belief system. And then through that, you get this feeling, this emotion out of it.
Right.
Which leads to the actions that you do and the outcomes.
They might not add up.
And they don't add up. Like for me, it's like I could be real. I feel for me, a lot of times it's more like I can be the younger son as far as like self-contempt side. Because I can be hard on myself.
Yeah.
When I don't need to be hard on myself.
So that's why I was interested to see, like, I mean, I know why the stories, because what they're really wanting to create is that no matter how we show up, no matter the sin, if we come to the Father,
right,
and be repentful from our sins, that He's gonna take us in and embrace us.
Exactly.
So I grasp the story, but to take it a step further and deeper for you. For the listeners, the thought process, when you say the self-contentment, I really wanted to talk about within the self-contentment, what makes you want your inheritance early?
Oh. Well, I don't even think
I'm saying, like, if you were tied to yourself personally, if you weren't doing something,
if I wasn't,
you're really hard on yourself. Yeah. How does that trick you to be like, oh, well, I'm going to go off and party and squander and not realize, because is it just the thought process of you chasing something that's not real?
I feel like it could be something like that. It's nothing like a negative, like I'm not squandering thing. It's more about
I'm not saying you are. I'm saying what gets you to the level in that self-contentment that you said sometimes you're hard on yourself,
right?
That you fall off the deep end, so to speak.
Yeah.
Like what like is there certain triggers, or it could
there
just
is,
be like
I think some of it is it comes back to like you get comfortable. To me, I feel like it's because there's something that you find comfort in, but isn't necessarily the right thing.
Right.
And you gravitate to that because that's what gives you comfort.
Right.
But we all know growth doesn't come being comfortable. And at the same time, you get comfortable, but then it's like, man, I messed up. Like I keep going back to this cycle.
So what do we do with the older son? So the older son, sometimes people get in our walks, in our journey, the older son thinks works is going to get you into heaven. What if I put that as perspective on, like,
if you put that,
I did this and I did that and I did this and I did that, and it's like works don't get you there.
It's not going to get you there. It really
the younger son didn't do any work. If he did do works, it's all bad, all negative,
right?
All not of the quote unquote what would be like. You going out partying didn't get you in. So the other son is the portrayal of works.
Right.
Works don't get you in.
And works don't get you there. Because I've been there. I've been that side too. I have. Like I've been on that. I mean, I'm pretty sure everybody's been on that.
That's why we're talking about
this. Like you try to do right. Like you put the work in.
Yeah.
And it's still not working. And
you put the work in. It's
like
still not working.
And it's because you don't have that relationship with the Father. For me, that's what I feel like it is. It's like you got to have a deeper level of it.
I think it's what the whole reason why we save beliefs for at the end is because we don't want to discredit, like, you do works, and if you work hard, what working hard does for you. But you have to have the belief, the right belief, and come from the right place and come from the right energy and do it for the right reasons.
Yes.
Have a sincerity of heart.
It comes from the heart.
If you're
it
just
really
like,
does.
oh, well, look at me. Look what I did. How you said earlier, me, I. It's like,
No,
that don't get you in.
no. It does. I feel like it stems from the heart. Because I forgot what the scripture was, but there's something. It's dealing with the heart, and the heart can be deceitful.
The heart is deceitful.
It is deceitful.
According to what I read.
It is deceitful. Yes,
it's
yes.
scripture.
It's deceitful. It is deceitful.
It'll trick you.
And it does. That's where, like, with this series, you're checking feelings. You're more, like, for me, it's more scripturally aware. I have to be more scripturally aware.
That's right.
To get to that point. And then you make the action steps. Because if you start getting into the feelings, like, oh, my heart says this and all that, it's like you may be doing a lot of work.
And we were doing
it.
We were doing a Bible study, and I said something, and they said like, oh, and they kept bringing it up, like Bible study after Bible study, and like we were doing it on like video conference Zoom, and somebody had asked a question, and I was just like, keep it biblical.
Yeah.
You know, because stuff can get off.
It can, and that's
But the only reason why I'm saying it now like that, and it could still be like, keep it biblical to joke, but the thought process still applies that we're talking about beliefs. And in your beliefs, if we say, keep it biblical.
I mean, just you saying that makes me want to check myself. Like, keep it biblical. Like, you really do. But at the same time, I don't want you to get consumed by, like, oh, I got to keep it biblical. Yeah. Like, you really need to fill it out for yourself. Because another thing, like, I looked at was how we go through a point where it becomes not God-centered, it becomes self-centered. Right. Like, we're not looking at the big picture of the
So let me ask you this. Why do you think, because I always like to be this type character. I mean, yeah. Why did the father give the inheritance?
Why?
Yeah. Why he's like, nah, get out of here, man. I know what's best for you. I'm not doing that. You're going to sit here and you're going to work like your brother.
I feel like because he had to let him go through his journey. Like, I feel like he knew what was going to happen.
So that's the embodiment.
But he allowed him to have his journey. Yeah.
So that's the embodiment in the story, in my perspective.
Yeah.
Of the free will aspect.
Right. Exactly. It's the free will aspect of it.
It's like, you okay, if you want to go get some knots and some bruises, lumps on your head. And
yeah. Because, like, for me, the whole story for me, as far as the father is, all the father wants is a relationship.
That's all he wants.
Period. And if he has to do certain things to get that, he's going to do it. But.
So that's, but see, when you say, so that's, and I know you said, and I'm not, like, disagreeing with you to that thought process.
Yeah.
But to say, when you say keep it biblical, is like some people have to figure out. I think my opinion is the way people play it safe. And I don't want to say safe like, oh, that you don't screw up. But if you use it, keep it biblical as a reference to be like, okay, is this taking me out of alignment?
Yeah.
Because, when you start like, oh, man, I don't want to keep it biblical. Well, it's like he created us, so he probably has a good understanding
right.
of how it all works. And if we reference that to base our beliefs, our core beliefs, I think I don't want to say you're better off, but you're better off.
Yeah.
Would you agree? Like, what are you basing your beliefs off of?
Right.
Like, what's some of your core beliefs?
Right.
Are we just free will? Like, oh, let me get my inheritance early?
Yeah, no.
It's like, man, I don't mind giving you your inheritance, but you're not even responsible enough
Mm-hmm.
to do right. Like, it's your inheritance. I mean,
Yeah.
it's yours.
It's going to be yours. It
It's
is
yours.
yours.
We're just talking about a timing thing.
Yeah.
And the timing thing is because you and how you're showing up. And the same way with the older son. All the things he wanted.
Yeah.
He wanted to be affirmed.
So we did it through works.
And what's so interesting is if you know, and that's why you have to keep it biblical. And this is the only reason I'm tying it like this, so because people don't know. People are going to fail an open book test.
Mm-hmm.
It's open book. How'd you fail an open book test? Base your beliefs on what you need to base your beliefs on. But anyway, the firstborn son, I thought it was double.
Yeah.
Didn't that,
From what I've read, yeah.
Didn't you read that
like
part
I
of
was
it?
actually it's
You
so
get
funny
a
you brought it up.
double.
You get a double portion.
So while you're like looking at your little brother like, oh man, you done gave and you got it back, it's like you're my first. You're the oldest. If we keep it biblical,
You get double portion.
well, this ain't nothing compared to what I have for you. When it comes time to, I know what you've done.
Right.
I've seen you've been here. I've been with you. But what energy was it in? What belief was it based on?
Right. Exactly.
Threw your whole beliefs off.
Throw it all off, man.
Tricked you. Yeah, man.
But that's kind of with me with the beliefs is you've got to have that belief system in yourself, like that self-confidence,
Yeah.
but more not just self-confidence, but godly confidence.
Mm-hmm.
Like for me, that's been huge when I can sit there and like take my whole self out of the equation and then just focus on God and what he's going to provide for me, whatever the situation is. That's calming. Like that allows me to get to that point where I can check my emotions and then do the right thing.
Doing the right thing.
But you got to have the belief system, the right belief system in order to do that. And it's not the easiest thing to do. I mean, you're talking about files and files of past stuff that
Right.
we've gone through that some people don't even, they can't even articulate it. Like they can't. And some of them may not even want to face those files. I mean, they may not even know where to start. But that's that belief system, and that's what trickles down to the feelings, the actions, and the outcomes.
That's what it comes down to, man. So I heard this was like, if you had 100 sheep and one was missing, would you go look for it?
Yeah.
You'd go look for it.
I go look for it.
You got 99.
I got 99. I'm going to go look for that one.
Missing. You're going to get it, right?
Yeah.
So, what do you think about the story, the beliefs? If you say God,
Yeah.
it's like, you're that one.
That's it.
You said you're going to look. And I'm going to say I'm going to look.
Right.
So both of us are going to look. So what more will he do?
Shoot. Yeah.
And he created it all. So if you say, oh, he's going to search to the end of the earth. Don't be the lost sheep. Base your beliefs. Keep it biblical. That's where you're going to be able to have the feelings in check. The emotions aren't going to stir to trick you out of the proper action.
Right.
So you don't get the outcome you deserve.
Bingo.
And that is pass the open book test.
That's all you got to do right there.
I mean,
that is it.
That's
it's so simple.
I mean, yeah, you can, yeah.
but
at times
it can be.
It can be like easy hard. Can be hard at times.
Like the whole thing about like, walking through the valley.
Yeah.
You're walking through it. Like you're walking through it. You're not staying there.
Yeah, that's what they say. There's a
Like
quote
you're
like,
walking through it.
If you're going through hell, keep going.
Right.
If you're going through hell, keep going.
And yeah.
So that's cool. Keep it biblical, Braxton.
Keep it biblical.
Look.
Keep it biblical.
That's cool. So I want to say this, man, because sometimes people, have you ever heard the eyes are the window to the soul?
Yeah.
So it's like sometimes people really think like, okay, I'm looking at your eyes and then I see into your soul to see your character, see how you are, see how you show up. But I think people need to be more cognizant of what they're viewing, what they're taking in, because I think it also is your eyes are window to a soul. So what you're seeing is a gateway into your soul.
I would agree with you on that. I would even put it to a point where you need to be more spiritually aware instead of dealing with the soul. Like you got to have more of this. You got to lean into the spiritual side.
Yeah.
More like the Holy Spirit.
Yeah. Because
the soul is a place, like you said, worldly things. Like that's the playground. Yeah. That's the playground.
And people don't, you think like, oh, that's not a big deal. It's like, okay, where does that lead? And where does that take you? And I'm just saying, we're
that's
inundated.
The whole story of the younger son.
We're inundated. And that's why I tied it back in like that to say like, because where does the self-content or feeling unworthy or undeserving? But you'll get on social media and you'll see the flashy car, the Lamborghinis, the Ferraris. You'll see the big mansions. You'll see people taking trips. Oh, they're in the Maldives. They're in Greece. They're in Paris. And then it gets you like, well, what am I doing? I'm not.
It gets you in that mindset.
And then you go to the Father and say, Father, I want my inheritance so I can go.
Yeah.
And you're doing it all based off some highlight reel because you let this into your soul and it don't belong.
Mm-hmm.
It's a trick.
It's a trick.
Don't be tricked. Put the guards up. Put the blinders up.
Mm-hmm.
If you're meant to have the car, the house, have the vacation, you'll have it. But it's got to be in the right energy.
Yeah.
You are the first. You got a double portion. If you're not the first, if you're the middle, if you're this younger,
you still get a portion.
You get an inheritance.
You get a portion.
At no point in time did it say, oh, give me what's not mine. It's always been, give me what's mine. But don't be tricked.
No.
There is a spiritual warfare going on.
Yeah, that's where it's at. That is where it's at.
And they're trying to distract you. To cause feelings and emotions, to create actions, to have certain outcomes that keeps you
in that cycle.
We'll say this, not biblical. So,
I like it, man.
Yeah,
I like it.
You already know, man.
It's good.
You got to take a note out of my book, buddy.
Yeah.
I'm just messing
I'm
with
coming back on this one. I'm going to take some notes.
Oh, really?
Yeah, of course.
That's good, man. Well, I love it.
It's magnificent, man. Magnificent.
Till next time.
This is your co-host here, Braxton Matson, and Lee and I just want to say thank you so much for tuning into this episode. We hope you've enjoyed it just as much as we did making it, but we couldn't do it without you. So please hit that like button, leave us a rating, leave us a review. Let us know what topic or subject that you would like us to talk about in your journey from mediocre to magnificent. But most of all, share it. Be the ripple effect of magnificence and know that you are magnificent in everything you do. Till next time.